All right, what's good, Slap City? We're getting after it today. Up and at 'em already. I'm about to go to work in a little bit, but had a few minutes and wanted to post a update. There's some things that I've been wanting to speak on that I didn't get a chance to in my breakdown of the Bordeaux and Quinones fight, which is up, by the way. So if you haven't checked that out, go check that out. But yeah, so my videos are still restricted to 15 minutes until the end of the year, so I don't really have as much play to be able to include that type of shit in the beginning, especially not in a breakdown where there's a lot to go over. So there's a new rule in Power Slap, and this isn't speculation at all. This is straight from Power Slap. So now, if you DQ'd in your last fight, you're now going to forfeit the coin toss in your next match. So if you DQ'd in your last match, you're going to forfeit the coin toss in your next match, and whoever you're fighting in your next match is going to slap first. There will be no coin toss. Now, this is huge, man. This is huge. This is going to affect a lot of people. And at first, I was like, hell yeah, I like that. Anything that can help cut down on the number of fouls and give people a bigger reason not to foul is good for the sport in and of itself, because let's be honest, fouls are arguably the biggest hurdle for Power Slap right now as far as what they're facing in terms of balancing how they're called, when they're called, the consistency of what they're called, and ultimately the implications that calling fouls and stopping fights to review fouls can have on the actual product itself. So yeah, anything that you can do to incentivize strikers to not foul and to throw clean strikes without actually having to call it is good in my opinion. So yeah, immediately I was like, yo, I like this. I like this rule. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, well, there's actually some shit that I don't like about it too. And there's also just some shit that I just don't understand about it. They didn't really go into much detail. But again, this is not speculation. This is from Power Slap directly. So obviously, as I mentioned, there is some speculation from me, but that is only because of details that they haven't disclosed. So that's just going to be me speculating on what I think will happen in certain situations that they haven't specified. But the actual new rule of forfeiting the coin toss in your next match when you DQ'd in your previous match, that's not speculation at all. Again, straight from Power Slap. So yeah, just a huge rule. Let's go over what I like about it. So yeah, again, as I touched on a little bit, anything that can potentially help cut down on the number of fouls that you have to call is good for the sport. And again, that's like an indirect factor, whereas that's not even something where it's like not even that they have to be more strict or call more. Like that's just a seed that they plant in the striker's head. And so, I mean, not necessarily, but it could potentially subconsciously affect the slaps that they throw. So yeah, in that sense, I really like it. Now, another thing I like about it is that not always. There are a lot of people that will fight anybody, but there are instances where some people might turn down fights if it doesn't make sense for them. Like let's say they have to fight back in the rankings and they think they need a title shot, or there's just someone that's below them that is really tough that they don't get much from fighting and they want to avoid that. So there are instances, believe it or not, where people can turn down fight. And so this could potentially incentivize strikers to take fights against people that have DQ'd in their last match if it means that they're going to slap first. Now, that kind of plays into some of the unknowns that we're going to go over, but to think that some people wouldn't be licking their chops to fight some people coming off a DQ loss when they know that they'll slap first if they sign on the dotted line is pretty ridiculous. I think that people will definitely be thinking about that. I mean, I would be thinking about that. If you got your eye on someone that you think isn't even a tough matchup in the top 10 and they DQ'd in their last fight, that is who I would be trying to fight, straight up. I mean, that's just me from a strategic standpoint. I mean, but there's some smart people in Power Slap. Some of the strikers are really smart. They think 2 steps ahead, just like your boy. And so, yeah, you're going to start seeing that. Trust me. And people aren't going to advertise it. You'll just start seeing people call out people. And when you really read between the lines, I bet you will notice that some people will start to target people that have DQ'd in their last match. So yeah, that'll bring us into what I don't like about it. So the main thing that I don't like about it is, okay, let's be honest. There are bad calls in sports. They happen. They will always happen unless you switch to some sort of AI refs. Unless you switch to AI refs, human error will always be a factor in reffing and in power slap. Now, with this new rule, it really opens up the door for somebody to potentially get double fucked off a bad call. Like let's say you had a legit clubbing foul in one of your matches, and it was the right call and they made the right call, and then like later on in the fight in your third slap or something, the guy flinched and you ended up clubbing, but they didn't call the flinch and they call you for the club and you get DQ'd. There is an instance where like the wrong call could be made on that and somebody could end up getting DQ'd off a bad call and then end up having to forfeit the coin toss in their next match due to that DQ. And like, I get that there would still be some liability on the striker who fouled out because they threw a legit club on the first one, but you get one offensive foul in a 3-round fight before you get DQ'd. So yeah, there's just a big potential that some people can get absolutely fucked there from a bad call and that could end up, 2 losses can be considered a skid in my opinion. It's the start of a skid, so to think that somebody could make a mistake and then it's just going to continue to follow them. So yeah, that's definitely something that I don't necessarily like about it. And then also the same thing, like it applies to the same thing that I said that I like about it, whereas like there will be incentives for people to take more fights or fight more often because there'll be people coming off DQs that are, sitting ducks, so to speak. I guess the same could potentially come backwards the other way where like somebody might not be as inclined to take a match if they think that they can get a match with this other person that's close to them in the rankings that wants to fight, who's coming off a DQ loss. I don't think that this will happen a lot. I think that a lot of strikers, most strikers, just want to fight and they'll fight just about anybody that they'll give. But I think that there are some strategic people in power slap, and I think that, anything that could potentially hold up a division, especially like one like that hasn't had a lot of activity lately, that would be bad for the sport. So that's definitely something that I don't like about it potentially as well. All right, so let's go over, this is the speculation portion. So that like what I've talked about before as far as like the actual rule that's being implemented, that's not speculation. This part as to like things that I don't know that they haven't qualified or explained on or touched on in any way is speculation. So one situation that I don't know that they haven't addressed is what if both people are coming off DQ losses? So 2 people that both DQ'd in the last match get matched up. I am assuming that they would just do a straight up coin toss at that point because obviously who do you give it to? I mean, they both DQ'd. So in that sense, I think that they'll probably just do a normal coin toss, which opens up the door even more for somebody coming off a DQ loss to target and want to fight somebody that's also coming off a DQ loss so that they'll get their coin toss back and not have to just automatically forfeit it. So yeah, not sure what's going to happen there, but that's like the only logical thing I can think of. So that part, as far as there being a coin toss, if 2 people who both DQ'd in their last match go up against each other, that's speculation, but that's just pure common sense. I think that that's definitely what will happen, although they haven't confirmed it. And the biggest question is, when does it start? So this announcement was made before Power Slap 10, technically, and it wasn't specified when it would start. So I don't know if anybody prior, I'm very confident that people that DQ'd on Power Slap 10, which I think there might have only been one. I don't know about the early prelims, but I think the only one was Josh who got DQ'd on Power Slap 10. So for him, I believe that his next match, this will apply. But for people that fought before PS10 that are coming off DQ losses, I'm not sure how that works. I know a bunch of people, some people coming off the show that DQ'd out in their last match, and just other people in general that are looking for a match that DQ'd on their last one. I'm not sure how that will work. I don't see how it's fair that you could just say, okay, it starts today. So anybody that's coming off a DQ loss prior to this is in the clear, but anybody that anybody that DQs out on Power Slap 10 and forward is fucked. I don't really think you can do that. So it's speculation that I think that it will carry on from before. Like, I don't think it's only going to happen to people that DQ'd from Power Slap 10 and later. I just don't see how you can do that, but that is possible. So that's something that they haven't touched on as well. And that's a huge piece of it because, again, there's just a lot of people that are coming off DQ losses that are trying to get a match. And so I'm not really sure how that's going to work, and I would love to know. So I'm not sure when they're going to address that, but I'm hoping it's soon. But anyway, I wanted to react to that because it's huge news, man. It really is big news. I meant to do it earlier, and I'm shocked that no one else has reacted to it. I not that I've seen at least, but and so yeah, the Perez breakdown, Perez and DeBell. You guys wanted that one next. I put a poll up on my Instagram, and it was damn fucking close, man. It was damn close. It came down to like one or two votes. So shout out to everybody that voted. Should be dropping in 2 days because it just has to clear copyright flag, and then we'll be all set. Thanks to everybody for the support, and yeah, till next time, peace.